Okay, hey guys, so this is going to be kind of a different video from what I normally do. This is not going to be an ASMR video. This is going to be a children's Bible book review video. I've got, I believe, 7 different children's Bibles here that I wanted to kind of go over and show you. Some are better than others. Again, I'm not like, this is just my opinion. I'm not like paid to do any of this, or you know what I mean. Um, but I am going to go ahead and start out with this one. This one is the Jesus Calling Bible Storybook by Sarah Young. And this one, for some context, I have a 5-year-old daughter. So that's sort of the age range I'm working with. But, like, I understand that I have all kinds of different Bibles here and they appeal to all different age children. So this one she had a really good connection with. Like, I think we really got somewhere with it. It's sort of, most all of these are broken up into like little short 2 or 3 page stories. And at the end, there is a Jesus calling note, which sort of, it makes it a little more personal, I guess. Like that really helped my daughter connect the story to her actual like day-to-day life, and that I really liked. The artwork is really good in it too. It's not too like bright, but it's also not too dull. Some, like, I've gotten ones where the art is almost pastel and it's not great. That being said, this is one of my personal, out of all these, this one is like one of my top rated. This is a really, really good Bible storybook. We read the whole thing and she enjoyed reading the whole thing. So, that being said, move on to the next one. Um, this is the Bible storybook. Well, the Bible is my best friend Bible storybook by Sheila Walsh. Um, this one is one of my least favorite ones. Um, and we actually ended up stopping this one and switching to another Bible book. I like the artwork. I think it's cute. It's not my favorite, but I like that it's like, again, not super dull or boring or like dated. Some like children's Bibles, I feel like the artwork looks really dated. Because they came out in like the 80s, 90s, whatever. But this one, you can tell this one's pretty new. Um, the what I don't like about it, and some people might really love this, but I don't. Um, it starts out with like a family. Let me see if I can show you. Like it's sort of like, oh, there's a family reading about the Bible, and the family, the characters here, walk you through the Bible stories. My daughter is not old enough to differentiate like that's like what is true, like the actual biblical story and what isn't. So she got kind of confused about like, okay, these people are actually in the Bible, this little family, and I'm like, no, no, no. Also, I don't know if you can tell here. This is definitely for the attention span of an older child. I would say like, I don't know, 8 to 10 maybe. Um, with along with, like I said, um, the way it's presented with like the family reading the story and stuff. I don't dislike this Bible. It's not high on my list right now, but also my daughter is only 5 years old, so I feel like if you have an older kid, or maybe one that likes comic books, because I feel like this is sort of comic booky, sort of in a way, I would give this one a shot. But for me, it's just personally not my favorite. It is set up the same way all of these are pretty much set up, where they are collections of short stories compiled together. So it's not like a children's Bible, like a, what is it, NIRV Bible or whatever. This is like short stories. So anyway, moving on to the next one. This is one me and my daughter have not started reading yet. But I did want to show it to you anyway because it's one in our collection. She was kind of didn't know whether to choose between this one or another one, so we went ahead and bought them both. I like this, because at the end it has these sort of like almost like summarization and a prayer kind of thing. The artwork is good, but it is a little bland. I think the color palette, I don't hate that, but again, I'm working with a 5-year-old, so a little brighter would have been better. But I do still really like this, and it is one that I picked out because I feel like even with the color palette and stuff, like the actual breakdown of the story is not super long. Like for example, this is Genesis, and it's like a few pages, not a lot of words, and I can probably digest or get through this with her. I would say this would be better for like 7, 8-year-olds, just based on, again, like this is a pretty lengthy prayer, and it's not as like vivid as small children's Bibles, but I do still really like it, and I'm interested to see how my daughter does with it. Whenever we get to it, she did really like gravitate to this one and want it. So once we get into it, I will definitely let you guys know how that goes. The next one is the one that we are currently in. This one is My Goodnight Bible, 45 Bedtime Stories for Little Ones. And I don't know what year this came out, but it is, you can tell by the artwork, it's not super, 1999. Okay. You can tell by the artwork, it's a little dated, but if you can tell, the front is shiny, and I think that's why my daughter likes it. I really like this Bible, though, because it's very age appropriate for my kid. It is like, this is one story. The artwork is super pretty and like really good quality. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a ton of detail in here. And there's these little parts where it's like, oh, hey, find the fish, find the this, find the that. And it's good for the like 4 to 6-year-old age range, I would say. This is like the breakdown of the story, gives you a verse. And sometimes they're multiple pages, like this one's 2 pages. Again, this artwork I think is just so pretty. And then there is one character, his name is Nightlight, and he kind of walks you through. He asks you some questions about the text, which I like this. This is super unique. Most of them are just like a summary and a prayer and whatever. But I like that it asks you questions, sort of almost like a Bible study for like a 5-year-old. It's like 2 or 3 questions though, so like no major pressure. The prayers are short and sweet and to the point, and then it kind of closes. And I just really like this one. My daughter's really liking it. It's easy to get through on a busy night. It's just, I really, really like this. So, anyway, moving on to the next one. I think I had one of these when I was a kid. I feel like everyone has this. This is the Golden Children's Bible. It is definitely not new. Let me see if I can find a date in here. Maybe not. I'm sure there's one in here somewhere. Anyway, definitely for like 10, 11, 12-year-old, maybe even 13, because I mean, I don't know if you can tell. A lot of words, not a lot of pictures. I mean, I guess a lot of pictures, but like, and it's more thorough, less vivid pictures. I feel like the artwork is a little dated. But I like the thoroughness of it. I feel like if you have a child who's very studious, and really wants to learn about, biblical stories, maybe without reading a Bible, because that's a lot to bite off for like a child. This would probably be a good transition into like, here's your own Bible. You know what I mean? The stories are still long enough to read together as a group too. Like, I could see if I had like a 10, 11, 12-year-old, I could sit and read, a few pages with them at night and it not be boring, or I think this is just really meant for a like later age child than what I have. So I'm hanging on to it in the hopes that like maybe my daughter will want to read it in like 5 years. Also, just kind of a side note, I feel like this would be appropriate for boys specifically. I think the artwork is sort of masculine leaning. It's not very feminine like a lot of these Bibles. I feel like are kind of girly, like whoop, sorry, I just bumped you guys. Like this one, I feel it's not projected to any, but I feel like this is a little bit more I don't know, colorful, and like it's maybe geared more toward girls. This I definitely feel like could be leaning more toward a boy. I think if I had like a 10-year-old son, I would definitely be like, okay, maybe this one. But anyway, moving on. This, sorry, I'm running out of space. This Bible is, this one's huge, and it looks like a real Bible. The biggest story Bible storybook, that's a mouthful, by Kevin DeYoung, illustrated by Don Clark. Now, I bought this new, and it was not cheap, but it's super well made. It's by Crossway. The artwork is absolutely stunning. I love the cover. This is like embossed. It's very, very pretty. But I will say the artwork is sort of, what's a good word? Well, you'll see. If, like, I have a 5-year-old again, and my child is very literal. Whenever she sees pictures and stuff, she's like, oh, this is what happened, because she's just learning to read. So I feel like she really leans on the pictures to understand what is going on in the story. And these are a little abstract. Like, for example, this is the picture for creation. It's absolutely stunning, though. It's so pretty. Again, I think I kind of just messed up, and look at how pretty this is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Illustrated by Don Clark. Don Clark, you're really doing a killer job with this. Look at how pretty. It reminds me of like Eric Carle kind of vibes. But anyway, the text in this is a lot longer, and they do like a story of several pages, and then it ends with like a prayer. I do feel like this is, again, more for like 10, 11, 12, 13 age range. I feel like this would be a good Bible for that age. I think I just bought it. I saw the pictures and I was like, oh, I'm going to buy it. And it's just not, my kid's just not there yet. That being said, also, it's, I can tell by the content that it's made for a later audience. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this goes into, the Abraham sacrificing Isaac, and I definitely just feel like that's, not that it's inappropriate to teach that to small children, but I feel like to grasp the concept, it's really just sort of aimed at a later, older age child, 10, 11, 12-ish, somewhere in there, 13, 14, I don't know. But it's not a Bible, like, obviously, like verse by verse, you know what I mean? I think, again, like this one, this is a good transition from like, a story Bible to like, oh, here's you a real Bible to read. This would be a good like transition period to where, like, maybe you're not ready to take that huge leap of just getting your kid a Bible and being like, hey, this is what we read. Or, because it's a lot for a kid to undertake reading an actual physical Bible. So I think books like these are just super helpful. And I would totally recommend this for that age range. Again, really, really, really well made. And really nice. Like, I really like it. I'm holding out hope for whenever my kid gets older that she'll love it. This is the last Bible that I'm going to review. This is one of my absolute favorites. This is the Jesus Storybook Bible, written by Sally Lloyd and illustrated by Yago. I'm not sure. Um, me and my daughter read this one completely and finished it. She is 5. I really, really, really like this one. She had a real connection with this. Um, the there are several different versions of this too. I've seen like ones that are kind of like Bible studies or different, but I think this one's like the OG Jesus Storybook Bible. Um, and I've seen copies of this floating around everywhere. And if you see one at a decent price, grab it because it's really good. So it, the pictures and the artwork, very, very pretty. They did a great job. It's not too loud and it's not too overbearing or distracting. Um, the words and the content are sort of light, like it's not. I found whenever I read this to my 5-year-old daughter, I wasn't having to stop and explain things constantly like I am with some of the other ones. It was just sort of like, here's the story, here's you kind of a summarized version that's not too in depth, and it always relates back to like God's love for us. And some children's Bibles I've read kind of fail to do that, where it's just like, here's the story, but how does that relate to you? This one does a fantastic job. And it was broken down into like, again, this is a few pages, but it's broken down into like chunks that you can digest for a small child. And she really, really liked this. We read this whole thing together. Um, and I wouldn't say that it's inappropriate for a child who's older either, like, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just really good. I think as a starter, because like I said, these aren't super in-depth stories. They're just sort of like summarization